I was 13, maybe 14, old enough to know embarrassment, but too young to know how to escape it. And that night in my uncle's apartment in New York City taught me a lesson about shame that followed me for years. Because what I did in that apartment, I never told a single soul. Not my parents, not my friends, not even my therapist years later. And every time I saw my uncle after that, I could smell it again. If you've ever carried a secret so humiliating it physically makes your stomach tighten, hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video, drop a comment, and buckle up, because this story isn't about revenge with fists or lawsuits. It's about reclaiming power over a memory that refused to let go. When I was a kid, my uncle lived in a small apartment in NYC. And when I say small, I mean New York small, thin walls, tight hallways. Everything smelled faintly like old carpet and city air. I was visiting him for a few days, one of those trips where you feel grown up just for being allowed to stay somewhere without your parents. I slept on the couch. I kept my backpack close, and I tried my best not to feel like a burden. Here's the problem. To get to the bathroom, you had to walk straight through his bedroom. No hallway, no side door, just directly past the bed. At the time, my uncle had just started dating someone new. And on one of the nights I was there, he introduced me to her. She was nice, polite, adult in that intimidating way adults are when you're young. That night, she stayed over. I remember the bedroom door closing. I remember the lights going out. I remember lying there on the couch, staring at the ceiling. And then my stomach dropped. You know that feeling when your body makes a decision without consulting your brain? The sudden pressure. The internal warning sirens. This wasn't a maybe I can hold it. This was a full-blown emergency. I froze. My mind started racing faster than my heart. I imagined opening the bedroom door, waking them up, interrupting something intimate, being that kid who couldn't even handle going to the bathroom. The shame hit before anything else did. So I panicked. I scanned the room like I was solving a hostage crisis, and that's when I saw it, an empty grocery bag. At 13 years old, logic disappears when fear takes over. And in that moment, the grocery bag felt like salvation. I won't sugarcoat it. I did my business in the bag. Every sense in my body was screaming. My face burned. My hands shook. And when it was over, a new terror replaced the old one. What do I do with it? I considered the window, but paranoia set in immediately. What if someone saw? What if they traced it back to the apartment? What if my uncle got in trouble? So I did the only thing my terrified brain could think of. I tied the bag, put it in my backpack, and zipped it shut. I didn't sleep. Every minute felt loud. Every sound felt like exposure. Morning came too fast. We got ready to leave. My uncle grabbed his keys. His girlfriend smiled at me. And then we stepped into the elevator. That's when the smell hit. It wasn't subtle. It wasn't ignorable. It was thick, heavy, like it had weight. I stood there, backpack on my shoulders, breathing as shallow as possible. My heart hammered against my ribs. My uncle didn't say anything, neither did his girlfriend, and somehow that silence was worse. I prayed they'd blame the city, the trash, the building. But deep down, I knew. They had to know it was coming from me. We walked through the lobby, out onto the street. Every step felt like a countdown. Eventually, I found a public restroom. I disposed of the bag like it was radioactive. But the damage was done. The smell never really left the backpack, and worse, it never left me. For the rest of the trip, I felt like everyone could sense it, like shame had soaked into my skin. Years passed. I grew up. Life moved on. But every time I saw my uncle, every time I saw his girlfriend, who eventually became his wife, that memory resurfaced. The elevator, the silence, the smell. They got married. They had a daughter. They built a beautiful life. And I carried a disgusting secret alongside it. Here's the thing no one talks about. Some embarrassing moments don't fade. They wait. They show up uninvited at 2 a.m. They resurface when you're already vulnerable. And for years, that memory had power over me. Until one day it didn't. It happened quietly. No dramatic confrontation. No yelling. Just clarity. I realized something. I was 13. I was scared. I did the best I could with the tools I had. And the only person still punishing Ma was me. That's when the idea formed. Christmas. My uncle was visiting. Same laugh, same warmth. And I thought, what if the real revenge is letting go? What if I took control of the story? So I told him, not dramatically, not graphically, just honestly. I watched his face shift, from confusion to realization to laughter so hard he had to sit down. He laughed until he cried, and then he said something that shattered the weight I'd carried for years. Why didn't you tell me sooner? That was it. No judgment, no disgust, no shame, just humanity. And in that moment, the memory lost its grip. The revenge wasn't against my uncle, or his wife, or the situation. It was against shame itself. If you're carrying something embarrassing from your past, something that still owns space in your head, remember this. You survived it. You're allowed to forgive yourself, and sometimes the most satisfying justice is peace. If this story made you laugh, cringe, or breathe a little easier, hit like, subscribe for more Reddit stories where justice comes in unexpected ways. And tell me in the comments, what's a memory you finally stopped letting control you? Because trust me, you're not alone.